Hi, welcome back to part 2 of my series of me just talking about my trip to Japan. Now last time we were on this little journey, we were talking about Osaka, and what an absolutely amazing time that was. Went to Universal Studios, tried out some food, got to explore, and have already made some pretty big purchases already for this trip. And now we're hopping onto the bullet train and making our way over to Shinjuku, where we will be staying for our remainder of our stay in Tokyo, Japan. God damn, this train gives you some absolutely beautiful views of Japan, like the countryside of Japan. From Mount Fuji to the beautiful countryside, there is an absolute joy that you just feel every time I get on this train. Now, this will be like my second time on this train, and I will be catching it again later as I return to Osaka later on in this trip to end the trip. But man, it takes about 2.5 hours to get from Osaka to Tokyo Station, and it's a pretty easy ride. The chairs are very comfy. They're not like other trains in Japan where it's lucky if you get a seat or not, and there was even a spot that was perfect for my luggage. But anyway, after that 2.5 hour ride and then a little bit more time getting to Shinjuku Station to go back to the hotel, I was completely fucking exhausted. I mean, god damn, it was really fun. That had to be one of the hottest days I was in the country. I don't remember what the temperature was, but it was scorching hot. So what I did was just kind of rest for a few hours, had a shower, and then I just stuck to the Shinjuku area today. I was originally going to go to Shibuya, but I'm just going, fuck that. I don't even want to get on another train today. So I just stuck to the local area near my hotel. Now, the first time I was here, back in 2022, there was a particular shop that I discovered at the end of our trip that time that ended up being one of my absolute favorite shops of my first trip here to Japan. And that was a store called Suragaya that was in this Oi Oi building, that had lots of retro video games, soundtracks, figures, memorabilia, just so much. And we've already explored a couple more of these stores now that I've actually am aware of what the name of the store is. This store is starting to get a lot of traction with tourism, so hopefully the prices don't start spiking too quickly, because this place has some just breathtaking prices. I mean, for God's sake, the last time I was here, I found a complete in-box Final Fantasy 13 PlayStation 3 console in pristine condition, and for a bloody good price. I think this was only like $200? But we couldn't grab it because it would have been too heavy, because again, we found it at the end of the trip, so our luggage capacity was already pretty much over. Now, while I didn't find any exciting consoles, I did find some absolutely amazing soundtracks. I found a Final Fantasy 13 soundtrack that came in this really special box, a Final Fantasy 7 spin-off soundtrack. I think this is Vincent Valentine's game, which I've never played, but I'm like, yeah, fuck it, this is pretty cool and fairly cheap. One of the coolest soundtracks I did find along this bunch was this Yakuza karaoke CD, which I haven't jammed out to just yet, but I am planning on to very, very soon. But then I also found the soundtrack to the very first Kingdom Hearts game. Now, I already have a pretty cool Kingdom Hearts CD that's got a majority of the songs on it, but this is the complete soundtrack to the first game. I think literally the only song that's missing from this soundtrack, which is a bit of an odd one, but I kind of also understand, is Simple and Clean. But once you look past that, I'm like, fuck it, Disney's Disney, dude. But probably my favorite thing that I found was this absolutely gorgeous statue of Shiva from Final Fantasy 16, Jill's icon transformation thing. It's been a while since I played the game, don't judge me, mate. And that was only $19. Now, when I did searches on eBay for this thing, they were coming out of like $80 to $100 for this thing. So I just kind of instinctively went, well, yeah, that's a fucking no-brainer, and I picked it up. I found plenty of other gems like this while I'm here in Japan, and it's just amazingly, everything is so cheap in this country. It's ridiculous. I'm finding games that are not overpriced, statues that are also in good price and are actually in good condition, including the box. And just nothing is overpriced here. Absolutely nothing. I mean, for fuck's sake, in this very same store, and fuck me, I really wish I could have picked this up, I found the complete collector's edition to Final Fantasy 16 for $350 fucking dollars. That's cheaper than this thing in retail price. For God's sake, if I had more luggage space that I could have worked with and more money to kill, I would have 100% bought this fucking thing. But it's just gonna be one of those L's that I'm just gonna have to take with a grain of fucking salt and move on. Fucking damn it. Anyway, after paying the bill and also nearly getting killed by Godzilla, I went into a store called Big Camera. Oh, I fucking hate that song. But this place also had some fairly decent prices, considering it's more of a proper retail place for this country, because there's a few of these around. And they had lots of amiibo, lots of really cool, like, kind of cases and stuff, but also this really cute Snoopy controller that I kind of also regret not picking up, because it was also a really good price compared to what I can get for it on eBay out here. But again, it's just one of those L's I'm going to have to take, because I didn't really know what else I was going to find on this trip. I really tried as much as possible to hesitate buying things straight away. That way I can kind of analyze these areas first and then kind of make a decision on what I'm going to go back for by the end of the day. But yeah, I really didn't do that enough on this trip. Not at fucking all. But anyway, it was getting late and I'd already pretty much had enough for the day. So I went to Harajuku to kind of just go sightseeing and just kind of chill for the rest of the night. And I found this place called Zetaria, which served this really beautiful teriyaki sandwich. It was absolutely delicious. And some of the best damn fries I think I've ever had in my life. The seasoning on these were insane. But after a really long day and after a really nice dinner, I decided to finally go back to the hotel and just call it a night. Because the fucking next day, I'm going to the gaming capital of the fucking world. Akihabara. Just, by God, I don't think I've got the words to describe how much I absolutely love this place. There is so much variety that all lovers of gaming and pop culture are just going to have a field day in Akihabara. The very first stop of the day was Yodobashi Camera, which in my opinion is a lot better than the Big Camera. Although, it's probably the same fucking place. They had the stupid fucking song playing still. The best way I could describe this particular building though, for those back home, think of it as a 9-story Harvey Norman with a restaurant on top. And 0% of the corporate chain. But more specifically, it was the 7th floor that I had the most fun on. It had everything a gamer could want. From toys, to guides, to art books, to fucking Sonic! But I'm not even gonna lie, I didn't even walk out of here with something gaming related. Because something else caught my eye as I was on my way to the gaming area that I wanted to explore. And that was this stand for merchandise for the Amazing Digital Circus. They had the entire merch line for the Amazing Digital Circus just right here. From some of the figurines, some keychains, some pins that make Pomni look like she's about to fucking go psychopath. But of course, as you guys know, this series originated from Australia, which is where I'm from. So it was incredibly cool and inspiring to see an independent show from my home country that's literally made 3 hours from where I live. And it's just here on store shelves. It's not even on store shelves at our fucking country. Like, seriously, Luke, what the fuck? I'm just kidding. I know you're doing your best. Anyway, I 100% left with this figurine of Kane. And is going to make an absolutely lovely addition to my desk. But anyway, after that, I went to the French Toast Factory, which was, I think, on the floor just above. And I can tell you this with confidence. These are the best fucking pancakes on God's green earth. They are so light, so fluffy, so full of flavor, and just absolutely mouth-watering delicious. This was a place I had already gone to on my previous trip, and I had to come back because the staff here are the most friendly in this entire country, and the food is just perfect every single time. If you have not ever had souffle pancakes, go out of your way and find somewhere near you that makes them. You will not regret it. After a really nice breakfast, I went to go explore some of the more unique stores here in Akihabara. And by that I mean I went straight to Super Potato. This is a much more well-known location, and this has a much bigger selection of games and collectibles than the previous Super Potato I went to in Osaka. Because this place has everything from retro games to collectibles to holy fucking shit. Fucking yes. I'm not gonna lie, I dashed right to the counter the second I discovered this fucking CD. It was the Shadow the Hedgehog complete soundtrack for only $50. Are you kidding me? This was such a big win because I said right at the beginning of this trip, my main objective is Sonic the Hedgehog and soundtracks. Grab them two things, make a baby, and you see my bank account go wow. This is without a doubt the best purchase of the trip so far. And yeah, it might not even be the best Sonic soundtrack, but just the fact that I finally found a Sonic soundtrack that one, I don't have, and two, that I really enjoy, it was an immediate purchase. And I know like 95% of this soundtrack is ass anyway, but it's got I Am All of Me by Crush 40 on it, so that's good enough for me. Also, I didn't realize it, but I looked up at the counter as I was checking out my Shadow the Hedgehog, and just above the counter, they've got like signatures of celebrities that have come in and shopped at Super Potato. Like, oh, just your average names like fucking AJ Styles, Kenny Omega, and fucking Hideo Kojima. What the fuck? Anyway, after having my mind blown while spending more goddamn money, I just went into really whatever shop I saw that had just either anime or video games, and there were some places that had some really good gems in them. Ones that I wish I didn't have to leave behind. A good thing that happened, the gel I found yesterday, yeah, I found that thing for a hell of a lot more expensive today, and that made me feel really damn good.
Check it, I found something really cool. So that gel I found back in Osaka that I got for like 20 bucks is here. That's 40. But they do also have the colored variant of this figure, which I didn't know existed. But yeah, they're identical. It's another Shiva, but that's only 22. I'm not going to get it because I've already got the other Shiva to worry about getting back home, but I just wanted to celebrate a win that I got that thing for like half the price. And to be honest, I do actually prefer the silver look. I think it's just, I don't know, there's something, it suits the tone of the game it's from.
But then at the same time, I found this Genocide Jack from Danganronpa, another episode, and I really wanted to buy this one, but it was really loose in the box and I just feared I'd break it, and it was like 200 bucks. I took the L and just continued on. I kept exploring, and then I found this Final Fantasy premium store, which just ended up being a bunch of brands really in the store. Just a lot of it was Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy in general. This place had lots of Kingdom Hearts, lots of Legend of Zelda, Pokemon, Persona. This was probably the store I bought the most stuff in Akihabara. First things first, I found this soundtrack to Pokemon Legends Arceus. And I mean, for a soundtrack that has over 110 tracks on it, that was a pretty good grab for 30 bucks. Another thing that I found in the store that was really cool was this art book for Persona 5 for like $30. And no shit, this thing's like 70 bucks back home. Now, while this thing is freakishly heavy, I just said fuck it, because the price difference for what I'd be paying for this thing back home, to me, it was worth it. And I finally found that stupid fucking aqua necklace that I've been looking for like 3 to 5 days now. As it was just sitting on the shelf. It was the only one there, surrounded by Terra and Ventus necklaces. And I got the aqua one there and then, thinking, oh, I'll come back for Terra and Ventus. And then I forgot to go back for them. Whoops. But whatever, I kept exploring, and for a while, I really didn't find anything from just multiple stores that really didn't have much. Went to a book off and they didn't have anything. Went down this sketchy-ass alleyway, didn't get raped, but also didn't find anything either. I did at one point find this Resident Evil Switch game that had Resident Evils 4, 5, and 6 on it, which was a really good price, and I was gonna buy. I just couldn't find enough info online to make sure that all 3 games were on this cartridge, because I really didn't want to have to deal with download codes. So I took the L on that one again and put it back. But anyway, then I found this Goku figure and got depressed, so naturally I became hungry. So I went over to KFC and had a teriyaki twister. And I'm not gonna lie, it was actually pretty damn good. But anyway, after having a really nice wrap, a really nice teriyaki twister wrap, I walked down the alley and found yet another Suragaya. My wallet screams no, but my body said fuck yeah. This one wasn't as big as the others were, to be perfectly honest, but it still had some bloody great stuff in it, stuff that I really wish I got. For example, this Crush 40 CD. My heart is screaming now that I look at the price of this thing, and then I look at the eBay prices, and but of course we still have a saving grace, as at this store I did find a gem. As I was about to leave, I saw at the corner of my eye something, and I went, I recognize that box art. So I walked up to it, and it was exactly what I thought it was. It was the complete soundtrack to Final Fantasy 16, which I'm thinking, oh, that's cool. And then I looked at the price tag and found out it was only $35 fucking dollars. I gotta fucking go to the lottery, because I'm fucking winning in this country. I went up to the cashier and I asked if there was anything missing, and no, it was perfect. It was in perfect condition, and everything was there. So, naturally, I got out my wallet, I threw the money at his face, and fucking ran. I wasn't letting anyone else fucking snatch that up. God damn. So anyway, I fucked right off, and then as I was crossing this one street, I looked up into the corner and saw the lion with the beautiful face, so I went, yep, let's go into my weird wrestling phase again. And in this store, I, for some reason, didn't fucking film what I bought in this store and a lot of these stores. I'm fucking shit at this vlogging thing, and I do apologize for that. But what I got with this really cool New Japan Pro Wrestling G1 Climax shirt. Now, I was originally looking for just the plain one, which I ended up getting when I eventually went to the show. But here they had like a button-up shirt version, and I'm like, you know what? That's really nice, and they do have it in my size. So I went ahead and bought that one, and then I later came to find out that it was actually the shirts that the referees were wearing for the show. So I just kind of went, oh, well, that's really fucking cool, and I went ahead and bought that. But anyway, after a little more walking around, I didn't, honest to God, find anything else for the remainder of my time here. But I did find one more thing that really broke my heart that I had to leave behind, because it was something that was on my list of things to find. But I've gotten to a point of the trip where my luggage is starting to get heavy, and I really don't know how much space I could spare. And I also just generally forgot to go to my suitcase and see if I had room for this. But either way, it was out of my budget for this trip, because I went ahead and bought the other stuff that I bought at that Final Fantasy shop. If I didn't buy anything there, I would have easily have walked away with this item, and that was the Dragon Quest Nintendo Switch for only $350 fucking dollars. I need food. 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 In come the Square Enix Cafe, which was Final Fantasy 1 through 6 remastered, or repixel mastered, or whatever the fuck they call this game. Final Fantasy 1 through 6 was the theme for the Square Enix Cafe during my stay, so I went in, really not expecting much. Last time I was here, it was a Trials of Mana theme, and the food here was not the best. But I thought, you know what, it's Final Fantasy, so maybe they actually put some effort into it this time. And thank God I was right. Well, except for the drink I had. So I had this, like, ice castle drink thing, which was really sweet, but also, like, 90% ice. But it does this cool thing. That's cool, but whatever. After fucking drinking that within like 2 sips, I ordered this meat and onion rings dish that was like some kind of royal guard dish, and it came with like 4 different dipping sauces. It was like a barbecue, some form of different kinds of mayo. They were all really, really lovely. The meat was nice, juicy, tender, and medium rare. And the onion rings were nice and crisp, and had a really nice glaze on them. Again, some probably other kind of like, maybe like a peppery mayo. Ultimately, a lot better than what I had last time I had ate at this cafe. So this cafe really has its hits and then its misses. I can just say you that much. But if you're a big Square Enix fan, absolutely go here. They even gave me this really lovely eat pad kind of thing with a bunch of characters that I have no idea who the names are of. But it was still really nice on the way. They didn't have to give me that. But they did. And then I went into the gift shop, and really, again, nothing for me. Although they did have this really cool Heroes and Villains of Final Fantasy vinyl set that I was very tempted to get. Until I realized that they didn't even bother putting One Winged Angel on that fucking CD. I mean, what the flying fuck? One food coma later, and I got up bright and early and headed straight to the Tokyo Sky Tree. That was having a Pokemon collaboration for the brand new animated series that, I'm not gonna lie, I've not checked out. I don't even know if it's out at all yet. I honestly never bothered to check. But this was just a cool collaboration. I thought, you know what? Why not? 1, for the Pokemon collaboration, and 2, just for being able to have a full 360 panorama of this absolutely beautiful city. And there wasn't a lot to do with this Pokemon event. You had a couple of photo ops where you got to be the captain of the ship, but also have a picture with like a Pokeball, and like they edit out the floor to make it look like you're flying above the city of Tokyo. And all that was really cool, and they had all these posters of the new characters, what their deal is. This Captain Pikachu was definitely the star of this expedition. And then, of course, you've got your merch store with some exclusive merchandise combining Pokemon and the Sky Tree experience. I went ahead and got like a couple of paper things. I also got this really nice mug. That was really cool. And I even got like just a normal keychain to commemorate my time at the Sky Tree, because it is a really cool location in Japan. One of the cooler kind of views of the city. You get this full 360 panoramic view of the entire city. You get a really nice view of Mount Fuji, at least that's what it says in the booklet, but all I saw were fucking clouds. And I even saw the Tokyo Tower from here, which I originally was gonna go to, but then, you know, I just wasn't feeling it. Like, I wasn't really all that into sightseeing while I was here. I might try to do a bit more of that next time I'm there. But at this point in the trip, I am starting to get a little tired of the constant exploring. Like, you gotta admit, like, exploring something primarily by train or even by car, like for multiple days straight, really does take a toll on you eventually. But either way, after my experience at the Skytree and going down the elevator at like fucking Mach 5, I headed on over to the Pokemon Center that was near the Skytree and picked up this really nice pole dancing Pikachu. Anyway, but let's be honest, I'm a gamer here, folks, and you probably already know the second reason why I even bothered coming to the Skytree in the first place. And that was the Kirby Cafe. Now, I was really, really fortunate to even get a reservation to this place. I actually had to pay someone to get me a reservation at this place. Like, it was like some kind of company that like went through all the different listings to your specific date and got you a reservation. It was a complicated process, but it only cost me like 10 bucks, so I didn't really care if it was a scam or not, because I wasn't really losing much. But luckily it wasn't, and I actually got a reservation at this cafe for about midday. I did go to the Skytree for about 9 o'clock, so I had a lot of time to kill. So as I was kind of walking around, seeing a bunch of different things, I just kind of looked around for a bit. Obviously, I saw the Pokemon Center. I went into a Disney store that had a bit of variety, but nothing I hadn't seen already. And I knew I was going to a Disney store later in the day anyway. But then I also found this PlayStation cart just out of fucking nowhere that had a bunch of PlayStation exclusive merchandise for things like The Last of Us, Days Gone, and Ghost of Tsushima. I actually went ahead and got this really nice Ghost of Tsushima scarf and this really cool mug that I found that, I mean, what can I say? I absolutely adore the Ghost of Tsushima game. I'm actually hanging on there that they actually make a sequel to the game and continue Jin's story. So this scarf was, even though it was hot as fucking balls and I was never going to wear this thing, and even it's coming into summer now, I'm still not going to wear the damn thing for a very long time. For me, it was a no-brainer purchase for this trip because I love Ghost of Tsushima. But anyway, after finally getting into the Kirby Cafe, I could tell ya, this is one of the nicer cafes I went to on this trip that were video game based. Obviously, the Square Enix one is not the best, not even close. And the Pokemon Cafe we're experiencing later, I have had before, and it's alright. Not the best, but it's alright. Definitely not as bad as people say it is. But this one was generally a very pleasant experience, at least for me. To start off with, I had the rice and egg omelet, which was absolutely delicious. Reminded me a lot of the one that I had back in Osaka at Spa World. Only it had this really cute Waddle Dee that I murdered immediately. And ate its entire fucking being within a matter of like 10 minutes. Because it was really damn nice. And then they brought out this really cute Meta Knight parfait for me. That I did order. And it was only like $6. It was a tiny little thing. But it was incredibly rich and creamy. Probably wouldn't order that again, but it was so cheap that I'm like, you know what, it's like another bit of ice cream. But it was very nice. And then I got this fucking Kirby car cake that was just ridiculously big, but was also like 85% fucking jello. This pink bit on top is not a really nice fluffy cake, but instead it's like almost like a pink jello kind of thing. I really didn't like it. I only really enjoyed the cake bit at the bottom, although it was advertised as like a caramel cake, although I did not taste a single bit of caramel while eating this damn thing. So that one really confused me. I definitely won't be ordering that one again. But other than that, and this really nice glass of orange juice, because again, this country's really going to be hooked on orange juice. It was absolutely delicious, and I would 100% recommend coming here. And just the atmosphere of this place was incredible too. Just randomly out of nowhere, all the staff came together, and all the people that were eating in the restaurant came together and started singing like "Happy Birthday" and like clapping along, in celebrating a young boy's birthday. And it was just really nice that, I mean, I got to clap along with everyone. I didn't capture any footage of it because I didn't want to be rude. But it was just really nice that the entire restaurant just came together and celebrated. Because usually, like, if you're having a birthday out here, you've just got a bunch of people, like, staring judgment at your table. They're not joining in and singing happy birthday with the staff and everything, or the fucking family. They're just staring daggers at you like you did something wrong. And it's like, cunt, it's my fucking birthday. They're allowed to sing happy birthday to me. I'm celebrating here. So it was really nice to be in a country that was completely stripped of judgment. It was nice. It was really, really nice. But anyway, after I was done, they throw you right into a fucking gift shop. So, you know. Get out your wallets, people. It's time to spend some fucking money! I got this really cute Chef Kirby plushie that was really cute. I got like this fork thing. I got some chopsticks, this fucking frying pan for some reason. I really don't know why the fuck I bought that one, but I went, fuck it. Just another thing, just throw it into the cart. I'm just buying whatever the fuck I look at this point. I'm in this really nice mug. Because I really like mugs. And coffee. I really go for some coffee, but it's way too hot in this country for fucking coffee. But whatever, I hopped onto a train and headed right to Shibuya downtown. And I beelined it straight to the parko. Because it was time for another round of Capcom, Pokemon, and Nintendo. But to be honest, again, I really didn't buy much. I got myself a Nintendo Tokyo shirt, because again, trying to go for the trifecta here. But I did find some other things in there that I didn't see in previous stores. For example, I found this really lovely canvas of the Tears of the Kingdom cover. But they wanted like $150 for it. So I kindly said, no thank you. Go fuck yourself. Yeah, to be honest, that shirt was the only thing I even bought there. And I didn't even buy anything at Capcom and Pokemon either. Because again, Pokemon was just too incredibly crowded for me to be interested in buying anything at all. Although this particular one does have a very, very good selection. And this really awesome Mewtwo at the front that's still in the pod. That's just fucking awesome. And the Capcom store, while having some really nice stuff and me being tempted on at least a couple of little things, I didn't really feel any urges to really buy anything because I don't play these particular games as much as I would other games. I love Resident Evil. I love Mega Man. I'm slowly getting into Devil May Cry, and I'm really getting into Monster Hunter. But just as it stands right now, I'm not a big enough fan that I'm going to be throwing lots of money at these small little things. These stores are not the cheapest by all means. If your main priority is gaming memorabilia, I honest to God wouldn't be going to these particular stores because you're going to be spending a lot of money on very little. Where if you go to a store like Suragaya, you're going to walk out with a lot more than you're going to anticipate for. But for a really good price. But anyway, I headed over to Disney because my family absolutely loves Disney. I mean, I'm going to Disneyland later on. But why start there where we can start right now? And while my family did get a lot of things like this really cute boot cup for my nephew, and a bunch of other stuff and this weird fucking Mickey hairbrush, I did get some things for myself, like the Zootopia slippers, which totally fit my feet, and this really cute Mickey Mouse in a kimono that's just so incredibly lovely. He's just kind of hanging out there right now. But generally, one of the cooler things I got to do while in Shibuya was cross the crossing, and it's like, I mean, it's just a crossing, but it's the pedestrian crossing of this country. And even like kind of crossing it then, not even knowing it was going to show up in the Sonic 3 trailer, like literally a couple of weeks later. I could technically say I've been on the set of Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which is really cool. To know that I got to cross the street at the place where they're going to meet Shadow for the first time in the film. That's really cool. But obviously thousands upon thousands of people cross that crossing every day. So I wonder how the fuck they pulled off making it a movie set. But anyway, after having some Shake Shack, I called it a day. This day really drained me because I was doing lots of traveling. The Skytree was like an hour away from my hotel, and even then I had to get like another connecting train just to finally reach their destination. So that one really drained me of energy that day. But either way, as they say, the show must go on. Now, on to day 9. Now, I really didn't plan on doing much today, as I really wanted to have a rest day today. But the more I looked around, there really wasn't anywhere like Spa World or anything that I could comfortably reach, just to have a relaxing full day of rest, as the next couple of days are going to be very jam-packed for me. So I just decided to chill out in Shinjuku for the day. Now, something I did that dawned on me while I was kind of walking around figuring out what I wanted to do for the day, because again, I really didn't have a plan for the day other than just kind of relaxing, was the fact that I'm like 16 minutes away from the Square Enix headquarters. So naturally, the second this dawns on me, I immediately get out of my phone and start walking. And it was just nice just to kind of walk. I found a really nice shrine on the way and just kind of checked it out. And there was even some people doing their morning ritual prayers while I was visiting the temple. So it was kind of interesting to see that what I see in like most animated features and cartoons, animes, and video game was just kind of like just a part of their daily routine, just to kind of give a prayer and to kind of wish for good luck for the day. Eventually, I finally reached the Square Enix headquarters, and I've got to tell ya, it was really cool standing in front of this building. Like, behind these very walls that I am staring at, the next Kingdom Hearts is being developed behind those walls. The next Dragon Quest is being developed behind those walls. They are remastering 1, 2, and 3 of Dragon Quest as we speak, and who knows what else is happening behind those closed doors. All I know that in this building, some of the greatest video games and RPGs of all time were created. And it's just a really cool experience to be standing in front of this building. Right next door to the building, we also have the more premium Square Enix cafe, the Ateria, which of course I had to check out because I hadn't had breakfast at that point. But also, this was on my bucket list to do on both of these trips, and I hadn't really figured out how I was going to do it, so I just kind of went, you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to walk up to the building and see if they got a table. And they did! They just had a table right away. So, naturally, that's where I had breakfast that day. And I've got to tell you, this cafe was miles better than the one in Akihabara. I had these absolutely amazing pancakes. Now, these are nothing like the pancakes I had at the French Toast Factory, but goddamn, these pancakes were still really good. Rich with flavor and a beautiful caramel with little bits of apple pie around it. It was just, and I mean, look at the presentation on this plate. It's insanely just, God, it was so cool. Now, I did also really want to get this cocktail of the Ifrit summon so I can kind of just feel the power of Ifrit flowing through my body. Come to me, Ifrit! But it was 10 in the fucking morning, so I couldn't order a cocktail. I'll have an orange juice, please. But anyway, after a really good meal and just a really nice glass of orange juice, I got to kind of like explore the cafe a little bit more, because there was like this whole shop and museum kind of mini section part of it as well, and it was just really cool. The key feature of this little museum part is this beautiful water fountain of materia that just really brings the place together, and it's just surrounded by old and new memorabilia alike. And God, as much as I really wanted to buy something from this place, I really wanted to get a keychain of a Final Fantasy logo, but I didn't have the change on me in order to actually use the machine. So I just took the L on that and I moved on. But speaking of murdering my bank account, I went back to Surugai to see if there was anything that I missed on my first shop, and yeah, I missed a few things, to say the fucking least. First things first, I added 3 new games to my catalogs of games of buying from this trip. The first one I found was Ruby Arrow Fall, the last Ruby game released by Rooster Teeth Productions. And one that I've never played before and never got a physical release in Australia. Now, I think this even got a physical release in America, but only as part of the limited run website. But over here, they just generally released it as a standalone title, and I walked away with this thing for 20 bucks, which was absolutely solid and is multi-language, so I'm able to play it perfectly in English. I just don't get all the little extra goodies that the Americans get, but really, I couldn't give a toot about that. Another really cool game that I found was World's End Club, and this is kind of like a mystery game, I think. I don't know, it reminds me a lot of Danganronpa when it comes to art style and just overall feel. I remember playing the demo for this one before it initially came out, but then I just kind of forgot about it, and I couldn't tell you why. But it was only 20 bucks here, so I just went, well, that's a game I really wanted at the time, I know that for a fact, and I wouldn't mind doing a Let's Play of if there was any general interest of it. I'd love if you guys could give me some comments down below. And tell me if that's something you're interested in, because I would absolutely love to play the game on the channel and maybe do a live stream on it. But anyway, the third game I found, and this isn't a Japanese exclusive or like something I can't get back home, but it was really cheap, so I got it anyway. I found this really cool copy of Breath of the Wild that had like this little art book come with it. It was like a little special edition. I don't know how special this edition was. But it was only 50 bucks, which was still like $30 cheaper than what I'd be paying for it back home. So I just went, yeah, I don't have a copy of Breath of the Wild at the moment. Why not? So I went ahead, threw that in the cart, and then kind of just walked around for a little bit. Kind of going through the soundtracks, not really finding anything that I'm into or don't really care to add to the collection or a bit expensive. I did find these Mario figures and I really did want to bring them home, but I just didn't have any room for my suitcase for these guys because I knew I didn't want to bring them out of the box. But it was only 40 bucks for these really cool Mario figures. I really wish I had the room for these, especially the Waluigi one. That one looks really cool. Now, admittedly, there were a handful of other really cool things in the store that I really wanted to get, but they were just too expensive. For example, this incredibly cool bust of 2B from Nier Automata. That was really cool, but they wanted 100 bucks for that one, which I know is not bad, but it was still fairly small for 100 bucks, so I passed that one up. And once again, I find a really cool Danganronpa figure of Makoto Naegi from the first game, and they want 100 fucking bucks for the fucker. What is with Danganronpa and expensive fucking figurines? I passed on this one as well because I know for a fact I could find better prices than this. But also not, I could pay basically the same and still get these while back home. At least that's what I thought. But anyway, I pretty much didn't really do much for the rest of the day. After that, I walked into another book off store that was a bit further out, but I really didn't find much. I mean, besides this loose Derby figure from My Hero Academia and this figure of Android 16 that I thought looked really, really cool. And to be honest, I called it there for the day because I know for a fact the next 4 days were going to be filled with nothing but action and pure dreaming fantasy. I needed that rest.